coins like the panda, a very limited amount. So I think, like you're saying, Paris, is that when things really start to go bad, and they are really starting to go bad for China right now, especially. And even Russia has said, we're going to accept payment for our oil in rubles, or go ahead and negotiate it with us, whatever currency, not US dollars, but we'll also take gold. Yeah. And for a time they did say we're gonna pay 5,000 rubles per gram of gold. So they kind of pegged their currency to gold, and they called that back a little bit too, and to go negotiate price. But what I think is going to happen is when it hits the fan, I think China's going to step up and say, you know what, here's our official holdings of gold. We have 40,000 tons or whatever, and you can come audit us, and here's our auditing, and then they will be making the rules, right? Whoever holds the gold makes the rules. And that's the way I think it's going to be. And that's one of the reasons why I said I feel that gold and silver are going to be the premium money after the dollar collapses.
Speaking of the panda, I have a collectible panda, 1/10 ounce gold collectible panda.
I've got one of those as well. They're very pretty. They're nice.
Yeah,
they're nice.
If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If not, anyways, I got one of those.
So yeah, let's maybe. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I had a buddy of mine that I run a financial YouTube channel teaching people how to manage, protect, and grow their money. And one of my videos I do every once in a while is about precious metals and the importance of having precious metals as a portfolio, as part of your portfolio. All the investable assets that you have, I recommend that you should have 20% of your investable assets in precious metals, gold, silvers, my particular favorites. Whether I don't necessarily agree with like this ETFs in gold, or I mean, literally tangible gold and silver stuff that you can hold, not stuff necessarily that's in some vault in Sweden or someplace. It's like you can see I have this coin that I'm showing you right now. And I had a guy who does another channel, and he and I kind of collaborate back and forth from time to time. And he's another channel. He's like, man, I never thought about having actual tangible gold and silver. How cool would that be to actually hold a gold coin and hold a silver coin?
It's pretty darn cool.
It is. And I'm just saying to him, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what he's missing. He has a great channel. He's got hundreds of thousands of dollars in assets in stocks and ETFs, because he shares it on his channel. And he's very well-to-do financially, but he's not got any of it, zero in gold and silver. And I'm like, bro, get at least 20%.
Well, even like these big guys, like you say, Ray Dalio, he'll say 5%, 10%, maybe not even 10%, right? And all of these big guys who recommend holding 5% in precious metals, they realize that 5% could save their entire portfolio when the rest of their portfolio collapses. So if only 5%, holding 5% in gold, in real gold, not just ETFs, although most of them do push ETFs, which is not holding real gold, it's just the futures, right? Potential future delivery of gold, which they will probably never get. If they think that 5% could potentially save their entire portfolio, why not have more than 5%?
Right.
Yes, it doesn't pay interest like or dividends like a lot of stocks and other financial assets pay. What are they paying right now? Jack. They're not paying anything. They're overvalued. They're more risk, right? So why not have a much higher percentage in something that is an insurance policy that will save your bacon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it's interesting is I remember when we started Prepper Talk Radio back in the beginning, it was Prepper Con Radio. Before then, when we first kind of started hanging out and talking, you kept telling me about silver all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I don't know. And then you showed me a piece. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do. And I grew up where we just didn't have the money to go buy silver, just didn't. It wasn't a thing. We didn't think about it. It never crossed my radar. And if you get listeners, if anything comes of this, go do some research on silver and gold, all precious metals, really go understand physical assets and the value of those things. But it's funny because I didn't have any. And so then I'm like, you know what? It doesn't hurt. I talked to my wife. It doesn't hurt. Let's get some. So we got some. And then I was like, the first time I held it, I was like, this feels different. Just holding a piece of real silver compared to holding $23 or $26 or whatever the current value is. When I first started, it was like $17.
With premiums.
With premiums, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was buying my silver, and I remember actually I bought some when it dipped for like $13. And I didn't buy some, I bought a lot. I bought a few hundred ounces. And I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It just feels like cool. Let's go do this. And I bought a whole bunch. And then I bought some more. But I remember I had one purchase and I bought 200 ounces of silver. And I was like, now what do I do with it? And I just held on to it. Well, then a few years later, our personal family economics tanked. And guess how much that silver was worth?
At least 50% more.
Yeah.
In just a few years, it was $21, and I sold it, a lot of it, to get through some really hard times, pay the bills, and keep the house. You know, having something that's real money, there's a long-term play on it, but there's also some benefits in the short term.
Mm-hmm.
But just that feel of knowing, hey, I've got real wealth in my hand. I'm like, I can hold this and go, wow, this is real money.
Yeah.
You know, this is a silver dollar piece, 1 ounce. It's awesome. But if you go down the rabbit hole of understanding precious metals, like can silver hit $100 an ounce? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, when the economy shifts, when things tank, I saw a video and an analysis that was done. The guy thinks it can go to $3,000 or more an ounce for silver. And I was reading all of his reasons why, and I'm like, okay, that's actually feasible. I found another guy that said it should go $30,000 to $40,000 an ounce, and I'm like, okay, that would be the heyday for me because I could pay off my house. You know, I could pay off all my debts and just be like, free man, what do I want to do now? So realistically, though, could that happen?
Yeah,
Shane, you know a lot more than I do.
Well, yeah, there's a few things I think we should touch on before we run out of time. I want to get into the how I recommend people get out and start getting into precious metals. Yeah. But what you were saying there is, you know, gold and silver, they come out of the ground at about 8 to 1 currently. It used to be higher, but we're running out of silver. We're running out of economically viable silver. USGS came out with a study a number of years ago, basically saying by 2030, somewhere around there, no, it's before then, like 2024, we'll be out of economically viable silver in the world. Maybe 24 is a little soon, but that date is coming. And so currently it comes out of the ground at 8 to 1, 8 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, but it's priced closer to 80 to 1. So where do you think I'm going to put most of my US dollars, my savings, into silver? There's going to be a much higher return when that balance returns. So historically, the balance has been around 16 to 1. The price of gold to silver for many hundreds of years has been more like 16 to 1. So there's a lot of catching up to do. Silver has to do to gold. So right now, silver should be well over $100 compared to the price of gold. And we won't even get into the reasons why. There are many, and it ends with manipulation. It starts with manipulation is the word. And so a lot of people don't agree with that, but it's pretty obvious. But also, I want to throw out a name for you guys to go Google and listen to this guy. He's very intense, and he's rubbed off a lot on me. His name is Chris Duane. He used to have a big presence on YouTube. He's kind of disappeared. I haven't looked him up for a while, but he's off doing, he has some coins of the Golden State Mint and such, some really cool stuff. He can provide a good education for you guys to learn more about the history of gold and silver in particular. But I guess the how to go out there and buy it. We don't always get into the how, and I think that's where we should really concentrate a lot of time on. A lot of things we talk about is the how, the why, and the how. For me, I like to go down to my local coin shop with dollars in my hand and walk out with a paper receipt with no name or any information written on there, and have my silver or my gold in my hands and take it home with me. There's a lot of other ways to do that. I know I've purchased online as well. I know you have Paris as well. But that's what I would say is the first step. Go find your local coin shop, go down and talk to them, rub shoulders with them, see what they recommend.
That's a great idea.
And that's not hard to do. Like,
It's fun.
Hop on your map and search it. You'll find gold and silver shops all over.
And you can go online too and do some research. I do a lot of research online. I don't buy much online, but I do a lot of research online for prices and different products. There's a lot of different products, as in there are government minted coins, called those sovereign coins, and they're actual coins because they are minted by the U.S. coin is minted by the U.S. Mint, and it is stamped with a dollar denomination on there, like the silver eagle. It says $1, right? And the gold eagle says $50. So they're both currency as well as money. They're an official government coin, but they're also gold. But I also like bullion as well. So a round, you can't call it a coin because it's not minted by government, so you call it a round. Typically, your best buys is buy and start out with 1 ounce rounds. With government coins, you typically pay a higher premium, especially with American Eagles right now, very high premiums. But if you buy a generic round minted by a private mint, you're going to pay a smaller premium, maybe even $3 or $4 right now. Used to be 29 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2 to premium on top of the spot price. So you'll need to do some shopping around for the best value, because I believe in getting the most precious metals for your dollar, right? Whereas if you buy government coins, they're pretty and they will have a purpose, in my opinion. So I think you do need to have some of the government minted coins. But when it comes to ounces, start with the 1 ounce rounds. And I really like the smaller denominations too, the 10th ounce, quarter ounce, half ounce. You pay higher premiums, so they shouldn't be first priority, in my opinion. But of course, they're more divisible, right? You could barter with them more easily than, say, a 1 ounce. And that's also one reason I like silver over gold for bartering. You come up with a $2,000 gold coin, and to barter for some bread, that's not going to work very well, right? Unless you walk away with a whole truckload of bread, which might not be a bad thing. But that's where silver, I think, really comes in. And I'm just jabbering along here. Feel free.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, okay, understand that there's amazing value in these. Understand that you can hedge against losses in other areas with gold and silver, right? So if you're new to this, go get diversified. Get a little, some if you can. If you don't have your food and your water and you don't have a shelter, hit those first. So what is our advice? You heard it from Shane. Get the priority things first. Your water, your shelter, your food. Get your first aid. Then go get your silver. Diversify your current portfolio if you have one. Get some silver and gold in there. And for me, it's like, okay, I can go and buy spot gold and silver. I can get rounds. I've got some coin silver. This doesn't really do a whole lot of value here in the United States. It's a Somali half ounce. I've got a 2 ounce from Great Britain. Guess what? It's still silver.
Still silver. It's an ounce of silver.
So it's great. Will the banks take it? Not all states, but Utah has a wonderful law that they have to, right? So you've got to look at where you live and how you can use it and where you can exchange it. And if you know the local guys, the local shops that have the gold and silver, they're going to keep you informed.
So yeah, you do need, in my opinion, an exit plan. You can't eat gold and silver, right? It's there is I do have a strategic plan. It's like you were saying, Scott, on the other side of the collapse, there'll probably be a use for having the gold and silver and be able to do your own bartering without the government issued currency, right? Part of my strategy is instead of, say, paying off my wife's vehicle, right? I took that cash and bought some gold with it. So as the value of the car goes down, the value of the gold goes up. At some point, I will take that and pay it off, sell that and pay off, what's left of the wife's vehicle. And hopefully that's with gold at higher US dollar prices, to where that makes that a much higher return on my investment. Sure, I'll call gold an investment. It's more of an insurance policy, but it absolutely can be an investment. I think it will, because there's been so many dollars printed, so much currency printed,